She's a wannabe rap star in Manhattan, New York. Heather Morgan wanted to be known by her stage name, Razzlekhan, a name she used to release a series of strange hip-hop songs. She highlighted her persona as a societal outsider. As for her rap name, Morgan's website indicated that she considers herself like Genghis Khan, but with more pizzazz, whatever that means. Although she never recorded anything that would be considered a hit, one song did come with a polished music video. In the lyrics of Versace Be Doin', Razzlekhan labeled herself the Crocodile of Wall Street and rapped about being an economist, a software CEO, and a writer, among other things. She described the song as an anthem for misfits and weirdos. She recorded a handful of other songs, including one in which she brags about using narcotics in a graveyard. Morgan also considers herself an artist in other media, such as sculpting, painting, and fashion design. It's clear from her website and lyrics that she considers herself a Renaissance woman who's capable of doing it all. Prosecutors, on the other hand, say she's simply a crook. To understand the scope of this crypto heist, we'll need to go back to 2016. News broke that August about a massive crypto theft in which 120,000 Bitcoin was stolen from an exchange platform called Bitfinex. At the time, that was only $72 million worth of Bitcoin. Of course, the value of Bitcoin has skyrocketed ever since. Hackers reportedly accessed the Bitcoin through a platform established in Hong Kong. It was also the second largest theft in the history of crypto. The biggest came 2 years earlier when thieves made off with approximately $500 million worth of Bitcoin after hacking the MT Gox exchange platform based in Tokyo, Japan. In the wake of both thefts, the crypto plummeted in value. Following the 2016 heist, Bitcoin dropped by more than 23% before it gradually regained its value. 6 years after the huge fraud, police finally made a pair of arrests in the case. By this time, the stolen crypto had an estimated value of $4.5 billion, according to investigators. In addition, authorities also arrested her husband, Ilya Dutch Lichtenstein. Both suspects face federal conspiracy charges to launder the stolen Bitcoin through the Bitfinex exchange system. Prosecutors said that Lichtenstein controlled the digital wallet used to collect the stolen crypto. Afterward, he and his wife used a complicated money laundering process to move the illegal proceeds into their own personal accounts. As for what they spent the funds on, charges against them listed various items, including NFTs, precious metals, and even a Walmart gift card. The couple maintained a public presence on social media between stealing the crypto and getting caught. They shared photos and posts about their relationship and other events in their lives. In addition to flaunting their wealth online, Morgan even went so far as to write an editorial for Forbes about the need to watch out for criminals using the pandemic as a way to commit fraud. It's clear that Morgan has a colorful personality as an eccentric artist and rapper. Her husband also has what we'll call not so usual personal story. Even though prosecutors believe Morgan was an integral part of the money laundering scheme, they say Lichtenstein did most of the legwork necessary to pull off the heist. For example, he was accused of establishing various fake names, profiles, and online accounts through which the digital funds were moved around and ultimately unloaded into the couple's bank accounts. Although he grew up near Chicago, Illinois, Dutch was born in Russia and maintained dual citizenship throughout his life. For that reason, authorities were concerned that he might try to leave the U.S. for either Russia or neighboring Ukraine. Since Russia doesn't have an extradition agreement with America, prosecutors shared their belief that he and Morgan could have been planning to live as international fugitives. Possible evidence of such a scheme included items found at their apartment, including a bag full of cell phones and a computer document on Lichtenstein's computer that was titled Passport Ideas. Federal prosecutors laid out the case against Lichtenstein and Morgan in a statement shortly after their arrest. They accused both of using a complicated series of financial transactions to keep their true identities hidden from authorities. But even their best efforts weren't enough to cover their tracks. The criminal charges included evidence of more than 2,000 transactions over 5 years in which roughly 25,000 stolen Bitcoins were ultimately directed through Lichtenstein's digital wallet and into the couple's personal accounts. The rest of the illegally obtained crypto stayed in the digital wallet and led investigators to the suspects. In the end, authorities were able to recover the majority of the stolen Bitcoin, which was worth more than $3.6 billion at the time of the arrest. Lichtenstein and Morgan got away with their heist for so long because of several complex maneuvers they made. In addition to establishing fake IDs and accounts, prosecutors say the couple enabled computer-aided transactions that allowed them to rapidly deposit and withdraw funds funds, thus preventing investigators from following the trail of the stolen currency. The couple allegedly used various methods of turning the Bitcoin into other forms of anonymous digital currency and even used legitimate transactions to launder the stolen funds. Although most of the funds were recovered, Lichtenstein and Morgan were able to cash out nearly $3 million worth of Bitcoin before the law caught up with them. In addition to assets like gold and gift cards, one of Morgan's cousins, Cindy Weisgram, said the couple used their stolen funds to live a lavish lifestyle. After the pair was arrested, Cindy said she had no idea what her cousin did for work or how she made her money. About 3 years earlier, Morgan indicated that she was a millionaire. However, she offered no details about where that money came from. The couple got married while living the high life with the proceeds from the stolen crypto. Morgan was actively pursuing her career as a hip-hop artist. Prosecutors later determined that they were collecting resources necessary to elude capture. One document describes evidence of a 2019 trip to Eastern Europe, which authorities said seemed like it was pulled from the pages of a spy novel. They were determined to live on the run, likely in Ukraine. Of course, this would have led to a whole new series of troubles for the American couple if they had been there when the Russians invaded. As 2021 came to a close, Lichtenstein and Morgan believed they'd gotten away with their massive heist. However, before the year was over, they received a statement from their internet service provider that advised them of a government request for evidence. 2022 began with federal authorities searching their Manhattan home, and they were formally arrested and charged with related crimes in February 2022. Although investigators believe they were prepared to pick up and move to Eastern Europe, they didn't make any obvious efforts to flee after the charges were announced. Defense attorneys used that fact as a reason to grant both defendants release on bail. Prosecutors maintained that neither Lichtenstein nor Morgan knew how much trouble they were in. Not only did investigators take physical items from their apartment, but they also obtained digital evidence, including a cloud storage account and access to Lichtenstein's digital wallet. The couple also established ways to receive anonymous packages in Ukraine and secure new bank cards and passports online. Lichtenstein and Morgan were arrested on February 8, 2022. If convicted, they both faced more than 2 decades behind bars. The federal charges against them included fraud and money laundering. Authorities from multiple local, state, and federal agencies contributed to the investigation, leading to the couple's arrest. A judge in the case agreed to allow bond for both defendants, settling the amount at $5 million for Lichtenstein and $3 million for Morgan. Although reports indicated that Dutch could use his parents' home as collateral to secure his release, a judge denied bail in his case. 2 co-signers provided the bond needed so Morgan could be incarcerated at home before the trial. Part of the agreement dictated that she would be electronically monitored while on house arrest. Details surfaced in the media regarding the evidence against them, including a pair of books Dutch hollowed with more than $40,000 in cash hidden inside. Agents who searched their apartment also found a significant sum of foreign money and evidence that Lichtenstein purchased dozens of gold coins that weren't recovered in the raid. The data recovered off their computers included one folder in which the couple detailed various so-called personas. This led prosecutors to conclude that they were prepared to live under assumed names in Russia or Ukraine. The digital documents also contained tips about how to perpetrate and get away with money laundering schemes. In addition to Dutch's Russian citizenship, prosecutors noted that Morgan maintained a close connection to Hong Kong. She had previously lived in that region of China and had established businesses there. Because of their international ties and the evidence collected in their apartment, authorities labeled them as possible flight risks. They wanted the couple kept in custody until the trial began. There's no extradition agreement between the U.S. and Russia. Prosecutors also pointed out that it would be challenging to force Chinese authorities to return the couple if they fled to Hong Kong. The couple's defense attorney described Morgan as less culpable than her husband. Still, a judge decided to set her bond at $3 million. She used her parents' California home as security for her release. She was then placed on house arrest. Although she was required to abide by strict rules meant to monitor her whereabouts and restrict her ability to go on the run. During his bond hearing, Lichtenstein was confronted with the piles of evidence against him. He had to stay in police custody. As of late March 2022, Lichtenstein and Morgan were engaged in talks with prosecutors regarding a possible plea agreement. Prosecutors agreed to postpone a scheduled court date to hash out a deal with the defense team. Prosecutors wanted to skip a criminal trial altogether by pursuing a resolution on which both sides could agree. Defense attorneys remained tight-lipped throughout the court proceedings. They didn't give the media any news about how those deliberations were going. Regardless of how this ordeal plays out for them, Lichtenstein and Morgan will remain the subject of countless podcasts and documentaries about one of the most daring crypto heists in history. Plenty of rappers use their run-ins with the law as material for their rhymes. We wonder if Razzlekhan has any new songs coming out about this criminal period of her life. Click here to watch one of these next videos. And let us know in the comments section what you'd rather have right now. 10 Bitcoin you can't touch for 5 years, or $200,000 right now.